Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Monday, Age of Sigmar Madness. With me, Rob, and these two knob jobs.
Knob job.
That's
Knob job reporting for duty, sir.
We're joined by Mr. Nathan Prescott. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, good evening. Good evening. How's things over there?
Here or where James is?
Wherever you are and wherever James is. How's things everywhere?
James, how is things where you are?
Oh, I don't know how things everywhere are. Here things are fine. House is warm. That's
nice.
That's about it. I haven't really left the house today. I worked from home today. That was
Nice.
as exciting as working from home gets. That's about it. But it's fine. How's things where you are, Robert?
Good. Which leads me into the show. Yeah, good. Although I'm not feeling great, so
you sound so unhealthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional.
You're not making that T Sports Arena. It's not been turned into a Nightingale hospital or anything, is it?
Oh no, but I'm who was the lady? Typhus Mary or whatever it was. That's me. That's what it is.
Shut.
Yeah, so I'm not feeling great. So welcome to everyone for joining us live. Oh, thanks Max Dealey for joining Patreon. That's fucking rad of you. And also Dr. Numian for resubscribing. He says, "Hey knob jobs, it's a great Monday when I get to see your beautiful faces." Thanks, Dr. Numian. Arepa says, "Get it done." Thank you for resubscribing. And the Wargaming Dad, thank you to you as well. Thanks all. So yeah, we are just going to do the news today. It's going to be a short one. Podcast bros, Twitch bros. We're just going to do the news. We're going to talk about some little bits, and then we're going to fucking sail off into the sunset. Or most importantly, this migraine is going into a bed, and it's going to sleep, is what today is going to be. And so fucking just deal with it today. Torian, thank you for resubscribing. 2 months, longest I've put up with anything, says Torian.
That's an achievement. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah, well done. Patience is kicking in. You're becoming a patient fella.
Yeah. Right. So let me catch up with Nathan. Catch me up with how you've been. What's been on Twitch chat? Catch me up with you as well.
Hello. Yeah, I've been good. I've managed to get a little bit of hobby done on my Mega Gargant. So I've started painting some of his rags and some of all the weapons that he's nicked from various places. So yeah, that's good. It's nice to be painting something other than his skin. Mm-hmm. I also dry brushed an Arachnarok. Painted it black because it had a weird paint scheme on it. So
was it the one I gave you?
Yeah, this is that blue one with little red spots on it.
Oh yeah, that someone else gave me. No one wants it, did they?
Everybody was passing it around. So I painted it black, and I've dry brushed it. So it's a bit like a zenithal spray, really, when you dry brush it white. And so then, be good to work on this fella.
We've had a question from the chat, all in caps locks. Nathan, what's that Mega Gargant's name?
What's the Mega Gargant's name? He's not earned it yet. He's got to go out into the mortal realms and earn himself a name. Until then, he's just going to be called something innocuous like Samwise.
What about Big Fella?
Big Fella. That'll do. Big Fella, Samwise, Little Fella, that bastard, etc., etc.
Not Nathan Jr.
Nathan Jr. works. Also, Gobsmacker. Eric Sorban says to name it Flinger. And then Groblag says Garden Finder. Groblag the Garden Finder is absolutely what it should be called. Thank you to AOS Pete for donating £5 to the show so I can go and get myself some tea bags. It's appreciated. Muchly, AOS Pete. Hey Kin, T-Man Cash, what's going on? What percentage are you done on the Mega Gargant? A question everyone always wants answering.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, his skin has been... I'm going to call it down on the skin. And, I've just been doing base colours. So, we're going to call that a nice round figure of 48.37% done.
I wonder if anyone has listened every week and actually knows if you've ever gone forwards or backwards on the percentages.
I have gone backwards. Last week I went backwards because obviously I had that problem with the wash, so that pushed me back. But forging ahead now, 1 percentage point at a time, or maybe even part of a percentage point at a time.
It's all you need to do. If anyone's out there right now struggling because of lockdown and being isolated or any of those things, don't forget you are progressing through life as stoically and as powerfully as Nathan Prescott's painting technique. So never forget, if you're feeling low and you're feeling like maybe everything seems to be the same all the time, imagine what it feels like to be Nathan Prescott's paintbrush, continuously doing the same
stroking the same model again and again and again.
James, so before we catch up with you, James, could you let us know what's happened with Dan? He obviously is missing again, second week in a row. Obviously, last week we know that he was out like vagina kicking mooses because of the fury over the Lumineth book. You weren't here for that. You probably missed that. That's what we found out last week. Do you know what he's doing this week or where he might be?
Yeah, so he fell while out kicking moose vaginas. He was sucked into one. And as of yet, we haven't found a hunter good enough to bring the moose down so that we can cut him out.
Right, wow.
What we're not sure of, and that's the biggest problem, is whether it's just his leg that's been enveloped and he's being dragged around, or whether he's gone entirely inside. Not sure.
We should just wait for the moose to give birth to him, and then
we
it'll be
could
a job
do.
done. Yeah. How long do you reckon the gestation period would be?
Of a fully grown Dan?
Yeah.
However long it takes to brew a can of Foster's. There's a correlation.
I have just seen on in the chat that MJ Pegasus has said so he needs liberating, and I think he does. So I think because he's having a particularly bad time, it might make sense if we all tweet him continually all week. Pictures of liberators, just pictures of anything. Send him a picture of anything. Pictures of moose, pictures of liberators, and then just like pictures of, or even pictures of just like blank colours. No explanation. Just want you to tweet him like white wall, black wall, untreated wood. Nothing else. In fact, scrap everything else. That's all I want. I want just like bland colours, no explanation. Just tag him in them.
Just tag him in them. Good. He needs that. James, you weren't here last week. Catch us up with how you've been. What's been going on?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I think some people know because I think I've talked about it a bit on the show. So I changed jobs, so I have a new job. So last week was my first day, so I was dead to the world. Other than that, not a huge amount. I've painted an entire 1,000 points of Lord of the Ring Rohan now.
Okay.
So I know like they've been doing that for a fair few weeks.
Is that your new job, painting Rohan?
I wish it was. What a great job that would be.
Yeah.
So I've done that. So now I'm going to move back to my Skaven. So I think like obviously since I last spoke to everyone, because it was this time later sometime last week, was obviously when the announcement came out of how things were changing in England at least. Mm-hmm. So now we know there is a chance that we're going to play some Age of Sigmar before the year's out. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to finish my Skaven army that I started. I don't even know what lockdown in. Maybe 1, maybe 2. I think 2. I think it was in 2. Who knows?
I don't know if there was a difference, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah, probably not.
What is it about Skaven that have got you most excited, would you say?
So I think the book's always been fun, and I think it's like stupid, isn't it? Like it's a bit like the Gits book in some ways, I think, like Agreed. Where it's probably not the most competitive, but it's a bit stupid. And I like all the units that are like, okay, now this turn I'm going to do 2d6 damage instead of 1d6 damage. But if I roll a 1 in there, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's my favourite. It's my favourite. There's There's some questions in the chat. Why is Nathan's camera the sepia-tinted footage of a serial killer documentary? That's exactly who he is. That's fucking nailed it.
He's also been filming for Netflix today, right?
Yeah.
We just can't tell you what documentary he's on.
Also, a quick one. We need a Lord of the Rings show. We haven't got time, but we would like to. Rob's done like a lot of shows. Just a quick one for everyone in the Age of Sigmar community who's excited. This Saturday and Sunday, there'll be an entire weekend of live coverage from me and the Honest Wargamer crew doing that. There's a TTS. It's a TTS event again. We're still a while away a few months away at least, from any actual human events, I think, other than happened in Australia. Nathan, this weekend, an Australian event, Brishammer, our boy Dino and the lads, held an event. Now, it was one with Dorothy Kane, but we can just fuck that off. That was Corey and his Corey's Gambit list. Brilliant play. The top line, which I thought you'd be most excited about, guess which the most represented faction at the event was.
Oh, this I know already, because I had a chat with Dino on the messenger service thing that they do. Some Gits showed up. All them Gits showed up.
Gits, 5 Gits armies were the most. Now, the top placing Git, do you remember Michael from the failed charge? Gemma's fella.
Yes.
He was the best performing Gits player. Out of 45 players, how high did Michael come?
Let's say exactly halfway up, so 20, 22 and a half.
Wow, not bad actually. 21. I'm really disappointed I didn't get to wind you up there. 21. 2 wins was the best the Gits were able to achieve. Now, my question to you, and they were the most represented, so most likely to be able to do well. So I do wonder why you think that might be, and is it because you think everyone in Australia is terrible at playing Gits? You said it, not me. Yeah.
I didn't ever say that. No, you bastard. Fucking hell. Why do I think they were probably concentrating on other stuff at the time?
What do you think that they were doing?
Well, knowing Michael and those failed charged lot, they were probably concentrating on the beers and those little sausages. And they might have been luring people to their van.
Probably. Look, James, you don't want to get in that van, let me tell you. Nathan,
if it makes Nathan smile like that, I definitely don't want to get in that van.
100% don't. I've been in it. That's why I've got a headache. Has Nathan heard that Sigvald's base is actually 62mm and not 60? Nathan?
Yeah, they don't know how to measure. Fuck all.
It's true. Which brings us on to our news, I think, on our first news segment. James, you weren't here for last week, so I'm going to have to ask you because we need to catch up. As a Lumineth player, how did you feel about that? Now, I know this is old news, really, in the world of Warhammer content, but James, it's very relevant to you, and we didn't get to ask you last week. If you got any thoughts about there being a second Lumineth book as a Lumineth player, how do you feel?
You're definitely poorly, because that was the week before last.
Fuck me.
But yeah,
time is a circle.
No, it's the same
just
as
happens.
You can pretend this because he's poorly.
Don't worry about it. Fuck it then.
I'm
not don't answer that question. Why is Nathan hilarious, or is it just me? Great question. Don't know. Nathan is not hilarious. No one encourage him. Yeah,
just him.
So actually, all right, fuck it. I'll skip forward a week. Nathan, have you had any thoughts a week on from our Slaanesh review about the Slaanesh book? James, as a Slaanesh player, how do you feel about the power level of the book? Start with you, Nathan.
Any more thoughts about Slaanesh? The book, no. Not about the book.
Did you not think about it a single moment after we did this show?
That was very forgettable. I've thought about the god a few times, but nothing about his book, no.
Okay, perfect. James, how do you feel about the power level of the Slaanesh book now that it is out? Obviously, having listened to the review show last week.
It's just not very exciting. It's a really hard one, isn't it? Because obviously, last Slaanesh book, I had a load of Slaanesh. It was way too powerful, and therefore, for me, like boring to play. Whereas I think this one is so badly so awkwardly pointed. I'm gonna go with that it doesn't allow you to put enough models on the board to be of really any use against the current armies high in the meta.
There's no data to support that there are any good armies in this meta, James.
Sorry, there's no data. There are no good armies. But it doesn't seem like it would be good against So when I go to bed at night, if you've ever seen Queen's Gambit, I dream Warhammer.
On the ceiling.
Yeah, on the ceiling.
Yeah.
In my head, that book
Upside
came out.
down.
Then I watched the review show. And then I went to bed that night and I was like, Slanesh, charge. Oh, dies. Some bow line. Charge. Oh, dies. It didn't work. Didn't work in my head. So it's not very exciting. It's a really hard one, isn't it? Because I think some of those models are really pretty. But I'd already told myself I wasn't buying it. So I guess that's good for me. It means I'm just this year, for the rest of this year, hold me to it, just taking Skaven. Unless maybe I go to a doubles, because then it gets harder, doesn't it? I'm just taking Skaven because I wrote a list that's easy to play, that I think will give my opponent a fun game, probably not always the most competitive, but will also allow me to spend the rest of the year catching up with people and having a beer.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, so many people have not been playing Warhammer for over a year that everyone's going to be terrible. If that makes you feel any better. So like you'll be fine because you'll be as good as anyone else, which is as good as you were before. And there's no data to prove that anyone will be good, so we're all good, except the TTS dudes. But the TTS dudes are going to have a bit of a problem that we need to talk about when they go back. Because when they have to start rolling their own dice again, they're fucked.
And using a tape measure.
The TTS crowd is screwed. They'll roll the first 10 dice and they'll be like, oh man, this is so tiring.
My back.
Can you imagine, if their mouse hand, because that's all they've been using now, they pick up 10 dice and they're like, no! Have to use their second hand to support it and try and, welt dice across the table. That's what I'm imagining.
And no aura ring. Yeah, TTS people will not know how to count dice anymore. That's true. Having to move models is going to be tiring. Moving around the board, it's just going to be rough for everyone.
And really, we're blaming Owen Jackson for all of that.
Yeah, mainly. I mean, Pasca's got something to blame. There's a whole bunch of guys that have mainly.
Okay, we'll blame them all.
They'll blame them all, which is really fun. My dice, my back. TTS pick up 10 dice and their wrist snaps like they have real bone syndrome. Right. I blame Mumford. As well. Leaving the house is going to be tiring after lockdown, to be honest. It's going to be rough for all of us. Okay. So, news, into the news section then, is that there's two news sections that we're going to talk about today. The first one is that there's a new mini. The Games Workshop are doing this new thing, New Mini Monday.
New Mini Monday, yeah.
New Mini Monday, and there's a cool new mini which we got to see today, the Rat King, or the Rat Prince, sorry, which did lead Speckles to then say, "Is James the Rat King?" And I think he was calling you a dirty rat, James, but I don't know if that's the case.
That's fine. He's just jealous because he's been trying to hit on me all year, but I haven't taken his advances.
Yeah. So
got to bait that chap a bit better.
I'm painting this scenery. People want me to show the scenery that I'm painting. I'm currently painting this. Just a quick update. So today so James got us a load of mats. So if you guys have bought any Honest Wargamer objective markers or rings, or undergargants or water bottles or hats, are we selling nipple tassels yet? Fuck knows what we're selling at this point. Masks? Did we sell masks? Did we sell water bottles?
We did sell masks, water bottles,
dice,
lots of things. Dice.
Nathan Prescott, double XL condoms coming soon from the Honest Wargamer.
What the fuck?
Nathan, you telling me you're not advocating for safe practicing of sex?
Yeah, I agree. Safe practice is important. Yes.
It is.
Do you know what? I mean, this is probably completely inappropriate, but now I'm just thinking that if we could have made those Nathan condoms at the first event when we all went back at the beginning of the year, we could have had loads of the single Warhammer players, as they propositioned to go, be like, would you like to have sex with me? Just so you know, it'll be great because I've got a condom with this guy's face on, and they could all point at Nathan.
Yeah.
What a great experience in the club. And then there might be moments where she's like, I'm going to just take a photo for later so I can look at it and compare.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. There's so many thoughts to go with that, but I don't want to. Can you get ones with like some realistic fur on the sides? Not right at the tip, obviously, because that's bold, but just like the edge.
Just round the edges.
Yeah. Warhammer events notoriously good for picking up ladies. It is when we go out. Anyway, right, quick, before my head explodes. The Rat King, thank you very much. Chrislia, the guy, the Imperial Pimp Slap, thank you for resubscribing. Loads of love to you. Yeah, so he's one of the new vampires. King. Yeah, the Rat King from the... no, Rat Prince, that's the important part. So, Nathan, what were your thoughts on the Rat Prince?
So, yeah, cool looking model. But he's from that city, the Cursed City place. But I guess he's not part of that game, though, is he?
I don't think he is, no, because they've shown everything that's in it. So we're thinking he's, he said it's from the place. We're thinking it's from the upcoming Gravelord's Battletome, right?
Right, yeah. And so he'd be a named character in this new vampire faction whenever it turns up. Cool.
Or he's an expansion for the Warhammer Quest, and then it will also be in the Gravelord's book at the same time. So that's probably what we're going to see. We might see like a huge volume of the models released for Warhammer Quest, but they end up also being applicable in the book. So yeah, Zurich, thanks for resubscribing, and sorry again. I hope you both have a great day, and many fortunes reach you and Nathan Prescott condoms. Yeah, so I think that's probably the process. James, what do you think about that release process? Do you think that would be cool? You obviously intending to pick up Warhammer Quest anyway, right?
Yeah, 100. Like that. Like all the other stuff's been dropping. I've been like, no, I'm okay. Like this year, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna chill. We think there's a new edition come in. I'm chilling. Like I'll probably do my Lumineth. I'll pick them back up next year. But like that box set came, and I'm like, cool, buying that. And I think we've talked about it on the show before. Like I buy a ton of board games anyway, and those Warhammer Quest ones are normally really good quality, and the models are normally higher quality than most others. So super into all of them. So yeah, I was buying that anyway. I probably won't play Soulblight, but the model's really cool, and I think it'll be really cool if we get a bunch of backstory for this guy, because I'll be intrigued to see.
Well, we read some backstory in the article, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he got cursed by the bite as he was escaping on a corpse cart. This is a joke for the people that have been listening for a long time, but still the best chariot in Age of Sigmar. Although we do need to revisit that show. We'll ask Jonathan on the show maybe next week to see because have there been some new chariot releases? I mean, there might be some new chariots. Probably Urgot's is on a chariot. But best chariot 2017 in Age of Sigmar, the corpse cart. He escaped a city on there, but then was turned into a vampire. But he fed off rats. So when he eventually turned into a full vampire, he was able to like convene with the rats, but most importantly, change form into a swarm of rats. So into a rat swarm. Yeah, so that's his kind of backstory, which is quite cool. So and as being suggested in the chat, that might mean that we might see some other vampires who have some other abilities where they change form. We have one instance of this in the game already, obviously in Marathi Kane, where we obviously had, where we had Marathi where she would turn into Big Marathi. So it would be quite cool to have a character or some characters who have some sort of special rule where, it's like a dual kit. So it's like you've got him like in his svelte feature and then turns into some little baby rats. I think that would be quite cool, right? And then you turn into Rat Swarm and you get scurry away or something.
Yeah, it'll probably be like a teleport or something as a rat swarm or something. But yeah.
Nathan triggered by anything new. It's like probably a teleport.
Yeah, there's fucking teleports all over the show now, aren't there?
Yeah. Maybe there'll be no teleports soon. No teleports.
No teleports.
Only grots that can walk more than 5. Sorted.
You should write games, James. You're a genius. How do you feel, says it in turn, Matt, in the Q&A section, about the boss character from Curse City actually being a vampire pirate?
That's fun. I didn't ever have a problem with vampire pirates. I feel like if you was a vampire, you could get a boat. Might be a nice way to live. No one's running away from you, are they? You can drink everyone's blood on the boat. Where are they going?
Can I just thank Real Mr. Winters, number one, just for being here and being his awesome badass self. Always caps locks all the time, and also for gifting a gift subscription to MMX James, who's also a lovely fella. You're a lovely dude. Yeah, sorry, James, what were you saying?
Yeah. Vampire pirates, fine. No issue with vampire pirates. I think it's a good idea if you're a vampire, because you get on a boat, you put some other lads on a boat, you're like, cool, no one's going anywhere, drink all the blood, they haven't got a choice. Great times.
The actual model's incredible, is all I'm going to say. I think the model's like super svelte, looks really awesome. There's been a real question about where those rats are for the tails to be coming out of the cloak.
Up his bum.
I thought they were his tails.
Are they his tails?
Yeah.
Is he part rat?
Well, yeah, he's eaten that many rats. He's become... You are what you eat. I didn't know the other lad was a pirate.
Yeah, the main dude is a pirate. That's the backstory. But I guess really where we all got confused, where it was vampire rats. Like, we didn't really get... Like, that's where the rumor obviously came from. Like, someone overheard someone in Bugburns or, whatever, and they saw vampire... They thought it was vampire pirates, but it was vampire rats. And you're like, oh, that's an easy mistake to make, I think. So I think that's where we got the confusion from this whole time. So yeah, 12 rats in a vampire suit. It could just be that.
That'd be great. And actually what he can do is turn into 12 rats, but it takes him a turn to put the costume back on.
It's actually a new Skaven release, not a vampire release. The Skaven just dress up as vampires.
Well, listen, there needed to be some way for Skaven to finally get a new model, and this is it. Like, you can either buy metal acolytes or you can buy some rats that are on top of a vampire. Those are your go-to options. Yeah. And James, as a Skaven player, you got to be over the moon about
that. I think, like, any new model that I really like the look of, or don't, I guess, as long as they're cool looking, is really cool, exciting. Because you're going to see one at some point on a table, aren't you, hopefully? And I'll be excited to see what some people do with the paint job, because he looks like a great model, but, and like, I'm excited to see what people do with him.
Okay, yeah. Looks great. And Games Workshop got this new Mini Mondays thing, which unfortunately leads us to... I like it. Nathan, give me a Twitch chat. I need a rating out of 10 for the new model. James, new rating out of 10. Nathan, rating out of 10 for the new model.
From just looking at it, I reckon I'm going to give it a... it's a nice model. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.
Okay, a lot of 8s in the chat as well. James, where you at?
I'm going to give it a 7.65 out of 10.
Oh, really? Fuck you all. 11 out of 10. This fucking guy is brilliant. Like, flawless. All class, no ass. Like pure power is what I'm going to say. Wish my brain was working so I could be better and more enthusiastic. But I think it looks cool. Like that classic, and it's got like a bloodline, and it's just like fucking svelte, and then we get some really weird, nasty stories with it. Like, think about like how creepy and weird you can get. You can meet like a guy who like wears like a vial of blood around his neck. He's like fucking like on a chain, James. Like, remember when we were all emos, and it's just on your
got your wallet on a chain hanging out your pocket.
Yeah, and you can just be like, yeah, I'm playing vampires. Like, I'm dark and mysterious and love coffee. Like, who doesn't want that faction to come out? Like, we haven't got enough weirdos in the Age of Sigmar community, and that hopefully will bring a few more weirdos in. That's what I
can only hope. I did play someone years ago, back Age of Sigmar 1, when all the models had janky rules, and he had the guy with the bat cape. Vlad von Karstein? The mad one? And you had to talk to him, and he had to talk to you?
Yeah.
I don't think we spoke for the whole game because I was like, "Oh, hi James, nice to meet you." Whatever his name was, can't remember. Sorry, friend. And then the whole game he was like, "Okay, Vlad, what are we doing this turn? Oh, I think we should do," and like put the voice on for the whole fucking game.
Yeah,
Like bring it. Maybe it'll bring him back. He'd
that's
be
what I want.
interested to play
I want it
again.
to be. I want it to be
Oh.
creepy weird. I want
I
it to be
need to
creepy
play
weird.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But creepy weird in the way like you guys won't. There's a music festival in England called Download, where like it's full of. It's not Hellfest. There's like 3 stages really of like being kind of an alternative person. There's like your middle class, and one time you took ecstasy, so you went to Reading and Leeds, and then there's your working class, yeah, and you used to get beat up at school, and then you go Download, yeah, and then you get fucking wrecked on cider, and then there's Hellfest. Yeah, where you have like a PhD in maths, yeah, but you probably like, I don't know, like lick each other's blood up. 3 different stages is kind of like obviously I'm being very what's the word, reductive here, yeah. And Nathan actually went to all 3, which is weird. But when you were there was always that stall that would just sell mesh gloves. And also T-shirts with 3 wolves howling at a moon, and other said T-shirts with dragons on. James, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Market T-shirts.
All of them, absolutely 100%. All of the people who shop there playing these vampire armies, and they're all coming to play Age of Sigmar, and I'm in. Come on, lads, ladies, whatever, in you come. Let's go. It's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it.
Great. I love your festivals thing. Do Shambhala? Do you know Shambhala Festival?
I do know Shambhala. What do you want me to do about Shambhala? Do you want me to pick the demos for Shambhala?
Yeah. Because I might be going there this year.
Okay.
If we're allowed. So.
Oh, okay. All right. What can you, Nathan Prescott's go to Shambhala? That's what I'll say.
That's the first time I've been. Great.
Okay.
Cool.
Fucking on my head. Right. So,
I thought Shambhala was the one you went to when you were too old to go to the others.
Wow.
Yes. You bastard.
It was amazing. I couldn't stop. And now I'm waiting for the chat to all be like, "We're going to Shambhala."
One time we're all going to Shambhala, and that's what we need to remember. Right, on to sadder news. In this news section. And that sadder news is that Games Workshop, not Games Workshop's fault, let's just be clear about this, because also it's affected James and being able to sell underpants with Nathan's face to people in Europe. But it feels like, so there was a, so I want to shout out, let me get a shout out for my buddy over my Spanish-speaking friends. Big shout out to all my Spanish-speaking buds.
Say something in Spanish, Rob.
Mi conquistador el taco.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Wilbur the Red. Wilbur the Red. Don't be rude to me. I don't speak Spanish. Nathan's picking on me because I'm ill-educated. Yeah, this is, if anything, that is gatekeeping. Yeah, that's gatekeeping because I didn't get a proper education. Anyway, Ulvich, thank you very much. Whatever he said. So Spain, yikes. Right, so Spain and other countries are actually struggling to get Games Workshop product. In fact, so much so that this month it looks like we're only going to have 1 week of releases from Games Workshop. They did say that they were going to a 2-week schedule. James, they put something out on the community site about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were going to tell me about it?
Oh yeah. So I would say, so this is me, and anyone else can think the thing, but for me, like, it's the most the most politician statement I think I've ever read. So the statement is, of course, our goal is to make sure that hobbyists around the world can get their hands on the latest Warhammer within a similar time frame. Global events certainly make this challenging right now, but by moving the release dates of certain products in our schedule, we can make it more likely that everyone can enjoy the latest models, books, and games together. This adjustment will help everyone involved in shipping and selling your Warhammer. Wherever you happen to live, ensure that it reaches you in a timely manner, and it means that when we get some of the mind-blowingly huge releases coming our way this year, you'll be ready for them. So they don't really know, do they? And it's probably not their fault because the post is messy.
Right, well, thank you, Sir Callum, for resubscribing. We could talk about, like, business plans and thinking ahead and obviously the fact that, like, it's not like they opened a present one day and they were like, oh, Brexit, did not expect that. Like, no one's been talking about this at all. So they didn't really, like, plan overly well. Nathan, stop reading the chat who are cussing me for trying Spanish. I look at you, gleeful little face. You cock.
It was great. I mean, I don't know why you spoke in Mexican, but Spanish was what we asked for.
Anyway, my point is that it seems like our European brothers and sisters are not going to be able to grab loads of product, and that they're moving. They're having to change some stuff around now. That's actually pretty big because obviously they've announced a bunch of stuff. Specifically, if they're unable to get stuff to other countries like Spain, so some of the Spanish retailers have said that they haven't had any new product in the past week or so. It is kind of an interesting conversation because it means that, like, because they don't do staggered releases, right? So they don't do a release here and then a release in America in 3 months' time. It's not what they do. They do like an all-out release. And so we might see some like really major delays that we weren't really expecting. How will the border of trouble with Spain affect James's ability with his highlights to party in Ibiza? It's the best joke I've seen all night.
I don't know because Rob's got my ticket.
Oh my god, so good. Ex-Maris, please buy yourself a present. You deserve it. In my opinion, it's a bad excuse. They just save money on shipping methods. I do work in supply chain, and we found 100 ways to ship our products in time, says Inferno Storms. So obviously, like, I don't know anything about international shipping or anything like that, and I don't want to like really weigh in on something I know fuck all about, which is rare for me. Mainly, fair.
Not feeling well today, obviously. Yeah.
Obviously not. I don't have the energy for it. My point was, and I'm trying to make a cogent point, is that we might be in a very weird place for Age of Sigmar generally over the next 6 months, because obviously, like, we know the Lumineth book's coming out, we know Techlist, we know Broken Realms Be'lakor. Fuck, we haven't even talked about that yet. We should talk about that. So Broken Realms Be'lakor as well, but we have no clue as to actually how that release setup is going to work now, which I think is weird. And obviously, like, there are bigger things. Like, as long as food and medicine and all those other vital supplies are getting through, that's what's important.
What?
However, what?
Toys are vital.
I
couldn't resist that either. Tonight's my night for just making one-liners. Carry on.
All right, okay. But like, I actually would say right now that actually it's a bit of a positive. So it's not a positive at all. But if Age of Sigmar community wants to take anything positive out of it, is that they'll probably move the 40k releases for Age of Sigmar releases. And the reason for that is because obviously you got Age of Sigmar, like the new edition, in the summer. I still think it's dead set for the summer. And with that in mind, I feel like everything else will get put out of the way to make sure that we get our summer release for Age of Sigmar 3. However, it's going to be a weird time. I don't really know, like, what you guys think. Like, and we don't already know, so, like, we know, yeah, anyway. What do you guys think? James, you got any thoughts on it?
It's just so weird, isn't it? And they're a giant, like, billion-pound company now. I think the weirdest thing for me is, like, there isn't any actual meat to those bones. And it might be that they're still working it out. So I don't want to like go in too hard, but I can't really understand. Like, it's a bit like the Lumineth thing. Like, I know we talked about it jokingly earlier, but like, they knew there was another book coming. They knew their release schedule had changed on the release of that Lumineth. It would have made sense just to say there are more coming. The release schedules are a bit off, but they also knew they wouldn't sell that box. Whereas this time, it makes no difference because in theory, nothing that they're selling has ever come out before. So would it not make more sense, especially at the minute where they're like, oh, we're going to show you a model every single Monday? It's like, but actually, the ones you see, like the rat guy you see this Monday, you're not probably going to be able to buy till November.
See, that's a question I'll ask the Twitch chat and people watching on YouTube and leaving the comments or anyone else, and then I'll ask it to Nathan as well. Is because I honestly don't know how I feel about this. Like, do you guys want to see a new model that you could buy at some point in the future, some ephemeral time? You know, because there isn't a plan. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, or would you prefer a roadmap? Would you be like today, instead of seeing a cool new model, which is exciting, would you like to be like, hey guys, we're definitely doing a Gravelord's book. It's this far away. Here's a bit of story. You know, go read these other like books or read like these Black Library books to get you prepped and all that other thing. Like, which way would you like to go with it? Do you want to see the mini that you can never buy or you can't buy for ages, or do you want to get that roadmap? Nathan, what do you think?
I don't know really, to be honest. I like seeing the minis definitely because that's what the hobby is about, especially at the moment. But a roadmap would be pretty sweet. Just trying to think if is there any downside to there having a roadmap. I can't think of one. So yeah, I'm in. I would like to see a roadmap. I like maps, actually. Yeah, roadmap, please.
I like maps too, man. They're so good.
Maps are useful.
Maps are useful, especially in the front of a fantasy book. They're the best maps. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think the chat has pretty been definitive that they would also like a roadmap. I think that would be fairly useful. A roadmap that unites new releases and a little bit of lore, maybe. I mean, so it seems like the next Broken Realms book, this kind of brings us on next, right? Is the next Broken Realms book is Be'lakor. Well, that's what they've said it's going to be.
No, it's still techless.
Is it?
Yeah, it's techless then Be'lakor.
It's techless then Be'lakor, yeah.
Right, okay.
And they somebody asked that in one of the Facebook comments. It was the only Facebook comment I saw, and they said, no, techless is still first.
It was one of those amazing times where, and again, in the defense of that community team, because no one ever seems to tell them anything, and their normal response is, when we get some information, we'll let you know. Yeah. It was one of the few times I've seen someone ask a question, they were like, oh my god, we know this one, let's respond.
Okay, so third is Be'lakor. Sorry, but my point I was trying to make is that they've had to announce stuff. We know what the next Broken Realm book is before we've even bought the Techlist book, which is very un-Games Workshop. They're normally like, hey, here's this thing, buy it. And you're like, oh, okay. Here's this other thing, quickly buy it right now. And you're like, oh, okay. That's not how they work.
Yeah.
And it feels like not frustrating, I don't know. I just wondered how everyone felt about it, really. Because we all passionately care about the hobby. And so when we do hear stuff, we emotionally react, which is super okay to do. Nathan, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to comment that it is super interesting that they've given us the tease that the Be'lakor book is coming after the Techless book, even though we've not even had the Techless book yet. So
it's a weird one, though, isn't it? Because, so Be'lakor's coming. He already has a model. We've all seen the model. We all know it's kind of very old and outdated.
The new model.
The old one's super outdated. So the new one's needed.
Yeah.
The whole community agrees. But so far, every Broken Realms book has basically brought a new book with it. So the Daughters of Cain. So Marathi was the main one. She got a new book. Techless is the new one. The next one, sorry. His army got a new book.
Yeah. No, they're going to get another book after Techless.
Well, yeah. So does Be'lakor come with a new Slaves book?
It's a great question. Or a
does
Chaos Undivided
Be'lakor-
book, or
yeah,
a Wrath of the Ever-Chosen book. Who knows?
does he get removed from? Does he get removed from the Slaves to Darkness book and have his own book? Like, do they change his rules completely and change everyone's Slaves to Darkness lists in a day?
Mhm.
Um,
I think one of the most relevant things actually is. Go on, Nate. Sorry.
I was going to say, I bet he gets bitten by a vampire and is turned into a vampire.
Vampire Demon. Well,
and
perfect.
then they release the vampire book.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
the Be'lakor, while I'm very excited for Be'lakor, like Math Mallow says in the chat, all we need is one Alariel new War Scroll. Like, that's it. Age of Sigmar is pretty good if you just put that out there. Like, maybe give Bulgors an extra 2 attacks.
what about the Tree Lord?
Huh?
What about the Tree Lord?
Nah, Tree Lord, whatever. Fuck off the Tree Lord. Like, whatever. I think it's fine.
Never going to stop. Darren sorted the Tree Lord. It's in his book. His Hobbit book.
Almost makes sense to tease Be'lakor. I think actually Nathan's right. Not Nathan's right. The Twitch chat is right. Sorry, in that I think that one of the reasons that we're actually seeing Be'lakor quicker than we would expect is because of the pressure from Total War Warhammer, and obviously they don't have any real issues with logistics or supply chains because all of their product is digital, and they're probably going to have Be'lakor in Total War Warhammer 3, which is why.
Yeah, but they'll sell 1 million copies anyway.
Yeah, no, but the point is they don't want Games Workshop don't want Total War to steal their thunder of announcing new Be'lakor, right? If that makes sense. So yeah, new Be'lakor. Either of you two excited about new Be'lakor? Twitch chat excited about the new Be'lakor?
Not really excited that he won't be able to do that fucking thing he does to units. That would be good.
What, you hope that goes away? I'm super into that. I think I want that in. Stay.
I want it gone.
Really?
Yeah, fucking thing.
Why?
It's just shit when you can't do anything with your toys for a turn.
He says no, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me. What does no
Be'lakor.
one like it? Twitch chat. What do you all think? Do you guys like it or not like it? The Be'lakor ability. It's miserable to play against. Wow. Okay. I hadn't really thought about that. Very excited for it to go away. Interesting. Don't like it. Love the rules, says Flukesy. Love it when I use it, hate it when I play it. I think that seems fair. But isn't that all of the rules? Like, Nathan, I feel exactly the same. Like, every time I see a net, I'm like, fuck me. I hate nets.
Exactly.
It's just shit when your opponent kills all your stuff. It's just a shit when your opponent kills all your stuff. See, that's also true. I think having Be'lakor is a good answer to, because I asked this question earlier today on the stat show, and that question was, I asked Owen how he felt about Morathi, and the fact that Morathi is unkillable, basically, for 2 turns. So, like, have you guys got any thoughts on that? Like, is it good, not good for the game? I was undecided. I thought it was fairly unique. I didn't really know. Did you guys have any thoughts on it?
It's not that bad because she is. I mean, she does do stuff, but she's not she's not a netter, is she? No, she doesn't. She is just one model. If she could cap objectives or something like that as well, then she's not just one model. She's 2 models. Fair enough, but still, normally it's number of models counts. So you can sort of play around it. It is hard to play around, and it's quite a tough thing. I don't know. I did prefer it when there was an out. So the old Morathi rules where you could get around it by using endless spells and things. But there
Can't
you
do
go.
that now.
No. So I preferred the older way where there were a few little ways around it, but I don't know. It doesn't trigger me that much, but then I guess I've not played against the new Morathi. When Morathi first came out, I played against it a few times, and it was triggering. But then I guess I just learned to get to cope with it. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things you have to learn how to play against it or not. I just thought it was interesting. I didn't think. I didn't think. See, that's why I like Be'lakor, because if we talk about Morathi being a unique piece, Like, I don't personally necessarily think that it should be an unkillable thing should be in there. Be'lakor also is like a nice, unique key piece to put inside the game, I think, because, if you do build like an indestructible Death Star of Gore Grunters, let's say, or Grots, or, whatever it might be, Hearthguard Berserkers, then you've got this unique, and it's not like massively powerful. Like, there are still ways out of it. It's not reliable. It's not definite. It's not 100% going to happen, which I think is fair, like we see with Sharks, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm quite excited about it. It'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see if Be'lakor is good, I think, is the kind of answer. And that, gentlemen, is it, unless anyone's got any questions. The supply chain thing, I think we covered it. Like, it's pretty rough. I think it's going to be a bit fucky and a bit all over the place, which is a bit frustrating. And especially must be very frustrating for all of our friends over in Europe. And I don't know if America's affected the same. I assume it is. So yeah, I think that's going to be a bit tough for everyone. James, you got anything that we might have missed today? Sorry, guys, we're closing it early today because I'm in a bad way. Yeah, James, you got any?
Yeah, I've got one quick question for Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I was curious to know how excited, on a scale of 1 to 37, Nathan is about the new Dark Eldar release.
No.
Cool, that was all.
Hasn't it been delayed?
Probably.
Nathan, you should really read about like what they get up to in Komora. You would love that shit. Like, give yourself an opportunity to read it up. You'll love it.
Cool.
Yeah, like it probably will be your new favorite army. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Nice.
Can Nathan? Can Goonhammer use that quote?
Yes. What quote?
Nathan, have you read Goonhammer?
No, I don't think I have read Goonhammer.
Do you know what it is?
No. Where is it? Where is it? And I'll read it.
What, you're gonna read all of it? Like, you're gonna read all of it? That's so much to read.
How much? What is it? How many is there?
How many is there? There's several goons that hit the hammer. I think is the general consensus. Yeah. I wish I was more on form. There's so many ways to milk that joke. That's really great. If anyone from Goonhammer is listening, please interview Nathan Prescott. Probably the best interview you could do. James, would you read the Nathan Prescott interview on Goonhammer? I would.
Yeah, 100%.
Or the MetaWatch article. Listen, Games Workshop, I won't rag on you for 6 months if you do a MetaWatch article about Nathan Prescott, asking him how to play competitive Gits. Yeah,
Oh, fuck.
That would be so fucking good. All right, we're going to go today. Listen, you've all been great. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies, it's a short one this week. Next week we'll be back. Maybe we'll do the best carts in Age of Sigmar in 2021. Don't forget we're a narrative channel now. Maybe we'll talk about 40k. Maybe we'll talk about Udos. Nathan, what do you want to talk about next week? You tell me.
Next week, let's talk about all the new models that they're going to release this week.
There's none.
They just said that they released loads. Oh, balls.
There'll be another one next Monday. We'll talk about that one.
No, we're not going to spend a whole show talking about one model.
It depends how good it is, Rob.
It might be a Gits model, and then we will.
Yeah. Could be a chariot. Then we could talk about chariots all show.
Well, I won't mess with you. All right, well, yeah, agreed. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We will be back next Monday. I'll be live again tomorrow. Don't forget, it's 20 days until the first birthday of the stream streak. There's live coverage all this weekend. There's loads of Age of Sigmar. Darren, this diary's on Monday. I might just ring Nathan Prescott randomly through the week, and we'll have a call. Do that with James as well, and then we'll do shows on that as well. Sorry about tonight. Everyone have a great night. Look after yourselves.
Good to be
Feel better, dude.
Bye-bye.